Previously on Kerbal Space Program.
Off we go. Or at least that's the plan. And whoa, Nelly, we're really moving now. Pull up. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh no, flat spin. There's the ground. Oh no, that's not good. That's not good at all. Oh, we died. Christ almighty.
So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition sequence start. We have liftoff.
Salutations, Commissarios! My name is Fritz, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, The Quest for the Final Frontier. Here we are at the launch pad at the helm of Fritz the Almighty. Launch is green flagged at the moment. No technical difficulties have arisen. Although I have noticed something wrong with the station. I've got to change that in a second. But I guess I should probably talk you through the rocket that you saw for about 2 minutes at the end of episode 23. Now, it's 293 parts, and it's going to cause some lag, so the launch will be in a fast-forward sequence. But anyway, yes, these are the 4 probes that we did use originally on the Dres mission, which failed, but we'll gloss over that. And essentially, it centers around this massive space tug with a science lab on it, and the lander which will go zipping around the Jool system, and basically doing stuff. So yeah, this is indeed our second attempt at going to Jool. Our first attempt did end in tragedy, but it is our duty to preserve the honour of our fallen comrades and go to Jool again. We shall never give up, we shall never surrender in the quest for the final frontier, but there is only one thing left to do, and that is to launch it. So, I'm going to fiddle with the staging, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I think that's sorted out, and yeah, flight engineer is up, and what I can do is check the amount of Delta V I have on board my spaceship, and I have, well, put it this way, this ship tips the scales at, by no means a trivial, 998,317 kilograms. That's 998 tons, almost. And my total amount of Delta V is 6,838 meters per second, which should be enough to get me to Jool, as a matter of fact. But anyway, what I'm going to do is close this dialog box and go for launch. So, in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition sequence start. We have liftoff. That is really quite an impressive sight at the moment because we are really moving now. This is quite something. What you are listening to here, ladies and gentlemen, is the delicate sound of thunder. I'm going to slip into a fast-forward sequence, but I will see you once we are ready to start our orbital insertion burn. guys, we're back, and I need to quickly circularize my orbit. So what I'm going to do is flip around, if I can, with this very, very heavy transfer stage. I'm going to see if I can't circularize. I've got a minute and a half until my apoapsis, as Flight Engineer says. And what we need to do is then plan our intersect burn with the gas giant Jool, and I should probably also have our monopropellant and things like that up. Can I just do that? Oh, I don't know how to not show that now. There we go. And what we can do is essentially to flip around and then burn prograde ever so slightly. I'm using these 4 nuclear engines to supplement this big Kerbodyne engine because these tanks are indeed quite heavy. And we do still have one of the tanks left, don't we? Right, what we're going to do is just give ourselves a bit of breathing space by moving around. Still a very heavy rocket, doesn't really want to move, could be a problem, although once we ditch this big stage here, maneuverability should become a little more apparent, shall we say. So yeah, oh, briefly, a shout out to Daniel and Damien. You've been supporters of my channel from the very beginning, thank you very much. And yes, you are indeed loyal followers of the glorious revolution. Much appreciated, much dank. Oh god, no, probably a bit too much there. Oh no, that's not bad. Quick save like so. And yeah. Well, we are in orbit, and I guess we could then start to plan our burn. So, Jool is in pretty much the right position, essentially. And what I'd quite like to do is fire myself at quite a steep ejection angle out into interplanetary space, like so. That's 978 meters per second, something that we should be able to easily achieve with the Kerbodyne stage. Now let's see what our ejection angle has done for our orbit. Okay, not much, as it turns out. We are still within the orbit of Duna, as it happens. Anyway, we can adjust things from there. So, I'm going to do the burn. And, yeah. We'll start firing the engine. Our maneuver node is moving. Not entirely sure what that entails. And everything should be hunky-dory. I think we should get to Jool with quite a lot of fuel to spare this time. And, like, not crash into the surface of the planet, like we did last time. Although you didn't see that, because I did conveniently lose the footage. Yeah. Something that probably wasn't explained in the little clip I showed before the opening credits of the previous episode. Probably wasn't the most helpful, but next time I'll show you something a little more sophisticated. For the modded career mode series, New Horizons, which is coming out, well, I don't know when it's coming out actually. Probably not in the near future, but once I've finished this and taken a break from KSP for a while, I think we can then start to think about modded career mode clients and such like. But yeah, I've got the beta release of the game, as I think I've said before. I can't remember. And I've basically backed up my save so that I can still play in 0.25 and finish off the career mode, because 0.26 or version 0.09, the initial beta release, essentially is going to break our save. So I think, and yes, there we go. I'm going to hit the gas and start burning. So once I finish my burn, I'll see you when we're ready to plus or intercept. In fact, I probably won't plus or intercept in this episode because I do have something else I want to show you. So yeah, I'll see you when we're ready to catch something different. Right guys, we're queuing up for a routine mission to the local Kerban system, and this rocket was actually aimed at Minimus, but as fortune may have it, we were actually lined up for a perfect moonshot, and a moonshot is exactly what we did, which was slightly annoying. I did waste quite a lot of money on this mission, so I kind of put it down to a science harvesting sesh, and pretty straightforward we are. Throttling back the engines, these mainsail tanks are quite a lot of Delta V, and then, just as we cross the divide, off the boosters go. As you can imagine, that perfect separation didn't come around the first time. There were some unusual mishaps on this first attempt. This is the second attempt, and I think I left the footage in, so there was some lingering separation anxiety left, as you can imagine, as we poke our heads above the atmosphere. It's coming up right about now. Okay, there goes the boosters, and they collide with the insertion stage, and there we go. That did not go well at all, so as you can imagine, I was pretty nervous when I fired off those boosters the second time. Jebediah, sorry, that's not Jebediah, is it? That's why he looks so concerned. Anyway, yeah, that's that. Starting the transfer burn into orbit, not into Lunar. Well, what I thought was Minimus orbit. Actually, this rocket was called the Minimus rocket, and it turns out that I'd actually been on course to the moon for the whole time, and I fell back towards Kerman and then encountered the moon, which is quite annoying. But there we go. So you can see that I packed way too much fuel for this moon mission, because obviously I was intending to go to Minimus. And here we are, just burning retrograde. I think I burnt retrograde a bit too late, so here I was firing the engine at full throttle. I was recording this at like 2 in the morning, so obviously my senses weren't quite up to scratch, shall we say. But anyway, there we are, that's lunar orbit. We did end up in this rather unusual polar orbit, actually, due to the strange nature of my ejection angle and the fact that I think I changed inclination before I started actually doing the burn, like the actual translation burn, and we fall towards this rather jagged and kind of terrifying surface spot on the moon. All of these arrests kind of glistening in the half light there, the terminus, as we cross the divide into the light side. And falling towards the surface at quite a rate. I do know that we have enough Delta V to slow down and make the landing safely. But even so, I do start burning early, just to kind of make sure, as it were. Yeah, bags and bags of fuel left as we plummet down at quite a rate towards the ground, travelling at about 400 meters per second, is that? 430 meters per second. Nedory still looks concerned, actually. Nedory, I think, was on our last moon mission in this save. Maybe that was back in point 24, I can't quite remember. Anyway, slowing down nicely. Nedory still concerned. Yep, half throttle, half chat, and we've got plenty of fuel to go. 28 kilometers. Apologies if you can hear me sniffing, by the way. I do have quite a severe cold, so I'm really not in shape to do this. It's why I've been. And there go the drop tanks. It's why I've been away for a while, YouTube-wise, but yeah. Hopefully that will go away. I've been incapacitated. And we're going to land at this crater here in the land of the rising sun, it seems. The sun pokes its head over the horizon of this little rock in Kerbal orbit. I think I dropped the stage a bit later because I want to get an indication of how far above the ground we actually are. There we go, the stage is dropping away as we decelerate. Final descent. There it goes. I'm going to pop the legs, I think. Although, trust me to forget because, well, my room was dark and I couldn't see the keys properly. That is something that you will no doubt encounter as we get closer towards the ground. I start to panic. Okay, there go the legs. It turns out I don't forget after all. And we're starting to throttle sideways a little, so I counteract that velocity. There goes the stage. We really aren't too far above the ground now. And just being patient here, just teasing the craft into position, making sure we don't crash or flip out or anything like that, making sure we control the throttle nicely on the final descent. We're coming down on quite a steep slope and we do not want anything to go wrong at this stage because that could set us up for bad things. 3 meters per second is going to take a while evidently, but yeah, things are going well, things are going slowly, we're taking it slowly. We've got plenty of fuel, so there's nothing we need to worry about. At this rate, in any case. And here comes the ground, quite fast as a matter of fact, 19 meters per second. It turns out I'd not been concentrating, and tilting over just to cancel out the residual velocity. And oh, yeah, you can see I hit the Z key to throttle all the way up, and yeah. And then I couldn't work out which way to turn because I was looking at the ship rather than nav ball, and I bailed out of this first landing. I completely bungled this one and almost flipped it over. And I had to do this kind of crazy aerobatics maneuver, like so. That was pretty mental. I was panicking there. I just knocked it up to full chat and hoped for the best. Trying to do this. It does get worse, don't worry. Quite funny. And yep, I'm not entirely sure what I was doing here. And whoa, yeah, that was pretty close. We were pretty much parallel to the ground. Completely bungled that descent. Bungled the landing there. That wasn't too good. And this could go wrong. That's quite dangerous. We are just a couple of meters above the surface. As I sweep around and point at the retrograde marker, using as little throttle as I can before I guide it down in the standard fashion. I think this is it, really. Yep, and I just let it rock onto its landing legs, like so, and we have touchdown. Nedory Kerman on the surface of the moon. I quick save, as I always do. And check out that sunrise, isn't that brilliant? Lovely. Being in a lunar polar orbit, I think it's really quite something, as you'll see on the insertion burn into orbit. You end up with the kind of Apollo 8 moonrise Christmas Day thing. For those of you who've seen that video on the YouTubes. Anyway, we get Nedory out to plant the flag, and coming up now is a fast forward sequence of him doing some science. I thought I'd play you guys on the ascent the clip from Apollo 8's Earthrise when Major William Anders, Jim Lovell, and the specialist on the mission played they read out from the Bible, Genesis 1, the creation of the Earth as the Earth rose over the horizon of the Moon on their second orbit. It's a pretty poignant message to humanity on December 24th, 1968, a year before Neil Armstrong was to set foot on the Moon in '69. Jim Lovell, of course, famously the captain of Apollo 13, the ill-fated Apollo 13. But yeah, here it is. It's pretty brilliant. It really is. Awesome.
It's now approaching lunar sunrise, and for all the people back on Earth, the crew of Apollo 8 has a message that we would like to send to you. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And from the crew of Apollo 8, we close with good night, good luck, a Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you on the good earth.
Okay guys, coming in for re-entry, coming in really quite fast. The ship is oscillating, as you can see, tumbling through the upper atmosphere at 3 kilometers per second. You saw from our attitude as we zipped towards Kerbin once more from the moon, we were going really quite fast, and this is the byproduct of that speed. Lots and lots of fire. Nedory looks a bit happier, even though this is probably an even more scary situation. And we just bled off about 2 kilometers per second in those last few moments there. And land is up ahead. We might just make it over the shore. Yeah. Time warping down. Those chutes are going to come out in a moment or so. And that is basically the extent of the moon mission. Nedory made it back safely. I did eventually make it to Minimus in a rocket that was less than $100,000. Actually, it was a pretty budget mission. Unmanned. I could have taken a command pod, but it was cheaper. And here we are, back on solid ground. Nedory Kerman is back, everybody. Nothing broke, actually. That's quite surprising. I managed to control the descent, and we head off to the Space Center. You can see that we gained about, say, 457 science. And lots of funds. 15,000 back, and Nedory Kerman's available for new missions. And we can probably head off to the R&D facility to unlock some new components. Yeah, that one. I think I'm just deciding here, but yeah. Essentially, there we go. But that's the moon mission, and Fritz the Almighty is set off with a course for Jool. But in the meantime, my name is Fritz, and I will, of course, see you next time on Kerbal Space Program.